I think. Find out in a second here. I believe I should be live any moment. We'll find out. I can't tell. It's not working yet. Oh, man. I think. There it is. We're good. Okay. Like I said, I'm trying to start something new here. Well, we are live. At least I believe we are. You can tell me if we are, if we're not. So we're starting out. I'm just going to wait for people to come in, but I wanted to do a special episode today. I was going to put out my best of list instead, and I was going to do or the most anticipated. But then I realized I still want to see a couple more things. I started watching Del Toro's Pinocchio last night, and I want to finish that because I'm really liking it. There's a good shot. It makes it on my list, and I don't want to disregard it. So, good. Good. I'm glad it's working, and there's no lag, hopefully. Hopefully that's testing things out, everybody. And so the way I'm going to work the show, I don't really have a lot of topics today, as obviously it's fairly slow. So what I figured we'd do is I'll cover a couple of things, and then, if you guys want to throw in super chats, we'll ask some questions by the end of it. Like we always do, we can do that. That's cool. If not, that's also cool. I understand. I'm trying to bring in some audio here, make sure I've got everything set up. Great. Cool. Good. Everybody's doing well. I hope you all had a great Christmas. And so we're going to do a bunch of things on the show here today, as I said. Before we even get into it, though, I want to thank our wonderful sponsors over at Carbon Health. If you didn't know about Carbon Health and you haven't been watching the show, they have over 110 locations nationwide. They have 80 locations in California. They are just amazing. They have urgent care needs at all locations. They have advanced care for most urgent care facilities. They have the ability to handle x-rays on locations as you go. You can start a relationship with a professional that you can trust and take care of yourself before major issues arrive. Everyone deserves a healthcare provider who is an active partner supporting you in your efforts to feel better and live healthier. They have care teams that have the support and resources that they need to be able to focus on and build a relationship with you. You guys know the healthcare industry, it's broken, but it doesn't have to be. It can be fixed, and that is what Carbon Health is doing every day, one person at a time. So we love working with them. We've been working with them for a little bit now, for quite a bit. We're going to be working with them for even a little bit more. And speaking of Carbon Health, on this Thursday, instead of the normal Brett, myself, and Roxy episode, it's going to be myself, Dan Merle, and John Roca on a special episode of Big Thing airing on Thursday, where we're going to be talking about our favorite movies and TV shows of the year. Similar to what we are going to also do on Capes and Cowls this Friday, where John, myself, and Dan will be talking about everything inside of the year that was movies and TV. Coy and Winston and myself will be talking all movies and TV within the comic book movie genre. Now, the other thing to get into before we get into the show and start talking about the show, if you haven't subscribed to this channel, please do so. Now, we're trying to, realistically, by the end of the year, probably looking at trying to get to 63. Okay, that's the goal. So hopefully you can join us, please, and thank you. Subscribe. If you are watching in this chat right now, and you've been here for a while, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, anywhere podcasts are found, please join us. It helps tremendously. Did you guys get anything for your friends who watch Sith Council or Big Thing or Capes and Cows or all of it? Hope so. Well, that link is in the description as well. All right, everybody. Let's start getting into it. The main story is some news about a Sony exec talking about how Spider-Man 4 is not the priority. Is that a big deal? Is it not a big deal? We'll get into that and more. And like I said, I'm not going to be doing, there's only a few topics that I picked out today. If it turns out that I go over those topics and the show's a half an hour and you guys are like, I don't want to put any super chats in today and ask questions, that's fine. It's a half an hour show and you guys can get back to doing what you're doing. If you decide you want to sit here, you want to have some conversation, you want to talk, we'll be here for as long as you want to be. I have that time today, and Wednesday is a special episode. This whole week is a special, as I even hear myself talk about. Wednesday, Sith Council will not be Steph and Mike, but Mark Riley will be joining me. So it'll be Mark Riley on Sith Council on Wednesday. Thursday is John Roca and Dan Merle. And then Friday, Winston and Coy, where we're doing a breakdown of comic book movies and TV shows, the ones that we love the most or that we liked a lot, and we'll talk about that. But that's what we got going on this week. It's pretty stacked, considering, you know. All right. Let's get into it, everybody. It is the big thing. That's Sith Council. That is Sith Council. That's true. So the hell with it. We'll do this one instead. Here we go. All right, everybody, let's get into it. Sith Council. Yeah, that's it. Sith Council. No, it's a big thing. And it is Monday. I'm ready. I hope you're ready. Thanks for joining us here, everyone. We're going to have some fun. I'm pumped. How about you guys? Excited? How was your Christmas? Or how are your holidays in general going thus far? I hope well. Had a pretty good couple days. Got to chill out, relax a little bit. It's nice. And I think we're still going to do that a little bit more relaxing for the week. It'll be more a little laid back and whatnot. He says whatnot enough. What was it? Well, there was one I thought about the other day. Nobody says anymore. What the hell was it? I said, what the hell happened to that? Shoot. Do I still have that? I wrote the note, but I'm sure I forgot. I don't know what that is. This song goes on forever. It's a good song, but I've had enough. What the hell was it? It was, shoot. I wrote this note down the other day, and I said, I got to bring that up on the show. And now I can't remember. And I made a list for myself of things I need to watch. That's interesting. I can't see shit anymore. How about you guys? Can you see? Good. Good for you. Don't brag. Because I can't see shit. And what the hell? Oh, I'm so bummed. I wrote this note down the other day. And I said, what the hell happened to this? Nobody's doing that anymore. And I forgot it. Good. Good show. Great. Perfect. Wonderful. Yeah. Moment's lost. Plain as a bat. It's true. I can't see shit. Can't see shit. Let's start with the Spider-Man stuff. We'll get into Spider-Man, and then after that, we'll talk about the box office too. There's some box office. I mean, because I told you, people were oh man, Avatar, it bombed. I was having this conversation with Winston the other day. He's like, yeah, it's somewhat bombed. I go, no, in no world did it somewhat bomb. No, not even close. It underperformed remember, they didn't know what it was going to make originally. I guess we'll just start with Avatar at the box office here, but they didn't know what it was going to make originally. And they're like, oh, and then they're projecting it to a big number of 500 million was the worldwide big number. Wow, that's massive. What a massive number that is. And then it made 430 and well, that's a disappointment. It was 70 under the massive number. And then within a week, what's it? It's almost like 800 already. So in some reports, don't listen to Cameron. In some Cameron was talking about domestic when he said that it's got to make, X amount in order to break even domestically. But worldwide, if you look at it, you got to make like 800 or 900. They're almost there. They're going to do it. And it made like 50 million this week, which is only like a 50% drop off or something. That movie's gonna make at least at this point. I think I had said 1.2 or 1.3, and I said I wouldn't be surprised if it hit 2. I don't know if it's gonna hit 2 anymore. Depends. But people are seeing it, run out and checking it out. I think it's gonna tap out now like 1.6, and that's still a massive number. So 1.6. So again, I am, by the way, going to be doing my best of list soon. And here's some of the ones that I haven't seen yet, by the way. I'll tell you that. I'll tell you some of the lists. I put these down on the list. I watched Marcel the Shell with Shoes on last night. It was a sweet movie. It might make the 10. I don't know. It was a sweet movie, though. Really enjoyed it. But here's some of the ones that I have not seen yet that I want to see before making my list. And I don't know if I'll be able to do it. I mean, that ultimately means I have to watch all these movies by this week. I started watching All Quiet on the Western Front. So I don't know if that counts. I want to see Till. I'm taking Marcel off the list because I saw Marcel. Thank you. Pinocchio, I started watching. Beavis and Butthead, Turning Red, The Woman King, Triple R, Barbarian, Living, Pearl, Women Talking, Babylon, Bones and All, After Yang, Tar. I have that on there already. Oh, no. The Whale, and The Menu, Weird, and Emily the Criminal. Is that right? Those are the ones that I don't have, that I haven't seen. So, how about you guys? Which one of those, if you've seen any of the ones that I just mentioned, knowing me, if you know me, and you've been watching my stuff enough, what is the movie that I should definitely watch because it might be in my top 10? I'm going to see all these movies because I want to be in the know, but realistically, which movies do I need to watch so you go, oh, dude, you're going to be bummed? Because I've done this before. I've made the list without seeing something. I go, damn it, that would have made my list had I seen it in time. So what is that's why I've heard enough about Pinocchio, and I'll tell you, even watching the first half an hour of that movie, I'm like, okay, or 20 minutes of that movie, I'm like, this has a shot. So I'm going to watch Pinocchio. And yeah, see, Western Front, thank you, Ben. I see Ben putting in a super chat here. So again, like I said, I'm going to get to all the super chats by the end of the show. I just want to cover all the topics. Yeah, let's see. So Pinocchio, I will be watching. Triple R. All right, so name them again. People are saying, name the list again. All right, so if you've seen any of these movies and you think, and go by my taste, not just by ones that you think that will be on my list. I'm not telling you, you need to see it because it's a good movie. That's fine. I'll probably see it. But I want ones that you think will make my list. And then you can watch my list later and say, see, I was right, asshole. You should have watched it, and you did. Okay, so here's the list. Till, All Quiet on the Western Front, Pinocchio, Beavis and Butthead, Turning Red, The Woman King, Triple R, Barbarian, Living, Pearl, Women Talking, Babylon, Bones and All, After Yang, Tar, The Whale, The Menu, Weird, and Emily the Criminal. So that's my list. There's no chance in hell. I think this is what I'm going to plan on doing. This is what I'm planning on doing unless you guys unless you guys convince me otherwise. This is my plan. So you have the opportunity to change it. My plan right now is finish Pinocchio, and then I'm going to get to After Yang, which I hear good things. Then I was going to get to Triple R, and then I was going to get to, what was the other one? Weird. Because the other ones, I don't know. I don't know about the other ones. And All Quiet on the Western Front, I started. I really like that. War movies are always going to get me, and I remember the original. Saw the original. So, yeah. So that's my list. But jumping back to this box office thing that we were talking about with Avatar. It's going to make a lot of money, and I'll tell you, the box office, let's see, let me just get to this thing. Where is it? The news. Spidey, we'll get back to you, buddy. Babylon ate a pile of duty. And I could have predicted that. Not anything. I want to see the movie, and I like Damien Chazelle a lot, but it's a 3-hour movie, and people are not learning. The box office or theater reasoning has shifted dramatically. You have to make certain movies for the movie theater now. Like, you used to be able to get away with some of this stuff because you might made your money back. It has shown in just reviews, by the way. Just reviews on how people do on reviews. It's telling. But this is the box office estimates they're in. And by the way, thank you I see the super chats coming in, and I am making a list of them. So thank you. All right. Weekend box office estimates are in, and a combination of factors from extreme weather conditions pummeling a large portion of the United States, rising concerns over COVID and the flu, and the Christmas Day falls on a weekend this year that's led to a not-so-jolly result. 3 new major releases. Again, this is from Dark Horizons. 3 new major releases. Puss in Boots, The Last Wish. Whitney Houston's biopic, I Want to Dance with Somebody. I didn't even realize that movie came out. I really wanted to see it, and I guess it didn't do that well because I heard nothing about that release. And Paramount Showbiz epic Babylon took on the second weekend of James Cameron's sci-fi sequel Avatar: The Way of Water. No one could beat the Na'vi, as Cameron's film brought in $56 million over the traditional weekend and looks to collect $82 between Friday and Monday, raising its domestic tally to 278 mil. So, where is it? Let's see. The film has grossed a further $601 million internationally and currently sits at the 5th highest grossing movie of 2022 worldwide. And after just 10 days, it's expected to hit $1 billion before the year's end. And if it does, it'll be the only third film to do so this year, behind Top Gun, Maverick, and Jurassic World Dominion. Puss in Boots will come in second with 11.3 for the traditional weekend, an estimated 17.7. Since opening on Wednesday, the film pulled in around 24.6 domestically and a further 32 million internationally. Critics and audiences' scores are stellar, and the film has no real competition in the family space until the Super Mario Brothers at Easter. Still, it will need it as the opening is considered less than the $34 million the first Puss in Boots opened to in 2011 and boasts a $90 million budget. It's too bad. That movie was really good. The Whitney Houston biopic I Want to Dance with Somebody set for third place with a disappointing 5.3 for the weekend and an estimated $8 million through Monday. It's in its favor, it came in at a tight $45 million budget. That's pretty good. And while critics have panned the film, the audience scores are soaring, including a cinema score, which suggests a good repeat business in the upcoming weeks. Damien Chazelle's R-rated Babylon, it's a bomb. Oof, it's a bomb, they say. The $80 million budgeted feature, $80 million, okay, that's not including marketing, snagged 3.5 oof, for the weekend, and it's expected to pull in an estimated 5.3. It's not good. An international release in late January should help ease the pain. Not really. No, not really. And Black Panther Wakanda Forever has crossed the $800 million global box office this weekend. Now it's $86 million over the weekend, making it the worst Christmas weekend in general. Sorry. Oh, let me reread that. Ultimately, the overall domestic box office collected $86 million over the weekend, making it the worst Christmas weekend box office 2020 pandemic aside in 2 decades. All right, there's so much here. Oh my God, there's so much. So much. Let's get into some of this, guys. We should talk about the first thing. Let's talk about, as I mentioned up top with leading into this with Avatar, right? Avatar is definitely going to make $1 billion. We know that. We know that'll make $1 billion. It's going to make around 1.6, I think, to stop. That's a massive hit. It's going to get the sequel. Considering, again, what people are not talking about, and they're talking about this more and more in interviews now. One of the main reasons that movie cost as much as it did is because they shot a lot of film 3. That is going to slice off a lot of the budget for film 3. Maybe not, but I think so. If they shot the majority of the film, math should lead up that should indeed be the case. So that movie is going to continue to do well. It's going to continue getting people out there. I think it's a good experience. It's got no competition with big blockbusters until Ant-Man. All that's been said, we know that. So now let's go to the other ones. Starting with Puss in Boots. All of these other movies, all of the other ones, including Puss in Boots, were a disappointment. Now, not bombs, all of them. Puss in Boots is not a bomb. That is a disappointing number for me because it is a very good movie. That movie will probably at the moment, depending on if one of these other movies that I just mentioned before blows me out of the water, Puss in Boots will land in my top 10. It was awesome. China didn't save Avatar 2. Don't expect 4 and 5. You're out of your mind. The movie's already almost made $1 billion in a week and a half. What are you talking about? It's almost made $1 billion. It's going to be, there's only 2 movies that have done it so far. It's going to make 1.4, 1.5. Expect 4 and 5. I don't know what that laughing, crying face is on the side. That's a lot of money. If you made that, you've made that movie, and it's almost made $1 billion in a week and a half. It should be dollars coming out of your eyes, not laughing tears. That made no sense. Do not work for a studio ever. You write something like that, fired. So going back to Avatar's a massive success. What the hell is that guy talking about? As I was watching Sebastian, what are you even watching? What you're typing? You said that a movie that made almost $1 billion in 10 days is not going to warrant sequels? Go outside and throw a tennis ball. So but the other movies though, Puss in Boots is upsetting. It is a bummer for sure. It's a bummer because it was really good. Really good. And I hope it does well. And this report says as much that, it's one of the only family games in town. So maybe it does. Maybe it has some legs. The other ones, though, pushes to a bigger problem because Puss in Boots, I think Puss in Boots has, yeah, that's what I said. I said someone said many forgot to mention that 90% of Avatar 3 was filmed at the same time. Yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying. It's huge. But Puss in Boots, I think that one of the reasons that it failed is not the right word, that it didn't do better. It deserved to do very well. When you see the movie, it deserved to do pretty well. However, the problem is when that movie is announced, doing a Puss in Boots movie again? Who cares? Like when I heard it, I was like, they're doing another one of these things? And then I started hearing buzz around it. It's really good. But there's only so much that buzz can do until people start seeing it and you're like, oh, it's really good to see it. Okay, it was pretty good. I'll go check it out. So that's what I'm hoping with legs for that. And there'll always be a need in the theater for family movies and animated films. If you can get it right, it's always a good bet if you can make it work. So you understand why those movies are made. The harder ones to make now in the theater, and this has a lot to do with the pandemic, streaming, all of it. Movie theater reasoning has changed dramatically, meaning that you used to be able to go, if there was a certain movie you wanted to see, you had to go see it in the theater. You watch it in the theater and you go, oh, this is one I just don't know where it's going to be. I really want to see this movie and I don't want to wait a year or 2 years to see it or a year on cable or whatever. They have these movies now that are made on Netflix and Amazon and all these, and television in general is so cinematic now. Whether you look at something from The Boys or 1922 or Andor, any of these things are shot so cinematically that there's no massive difference between some of the quality. Now, obviously, you compare like Avatar to some of these things and the amount of budget it shows. But when you go to the theater to see, you're not going, like I always, like the silliness of when, and I've talked about this, like you say, like She Said, right? And that's a movie that is an important movie, and it's from what I hear also, it's a movie that, similar to Spotlight, just is more about the investigation and the way it played, and it could play like a thriller. But it's not the type of movie that people want to go see and escape from, reality now. We're back to the theaters really being a place to escape reality more so than ever. It's always been that, they say. More so than ever. And certain things that there are just certain movies that you can watch on there's certain movies you can watch on streaming that I think that, like a movie like that's, like She Said, built for streaming, right? The Whitney Houston biopic right now, built for streaming. Babylon, 3 hours. Like, now it's a 3-hour movie as opposed to, there's a difference. Freaking Avatar's 3 hours. Very different. Avatar is built for this adventure that you're going on for the whole entire time. 3 hours and 10 minutes for, I haven't seen the movie yet. Either cut it down or put it on streaming. You ain't making that. That is an easy prediction to make, that people are not rushing out of the theater. It's got Brad Pitt and Margot Robbie. It is not a movie star's business anymore to just sell on the movie star. It just does not happen. Movie stars sell TV shows now because you're already subscribed to the service. I have Paramount Plus. Harrison Ford's in it. Damn right I'm watching it. I'm subscribed. Or hell, $4 to subscribe to this show for a little bit and see if I like it because Harrison Ford's in it. Sure, I'll do it. And then I'll check out some of the other shows. Stallone's on there too? Okay. Sure. Movie stars sell the television show. They don't sell it. This is why I brought this up on Capes and Cows the other day. I think that Quentin Tarantino, with his point that he made on Howard Stern about Marvel and superheroes and that stuff, people took it as if, and he might have come, the way that he presented his words in a certain way came off in a way where he was taking shots at Marvel and the actors who played them. What I believe he was saying inside of that, which is that the character of Iron Man and Captain America and Thor is what is driving people into the theater. The actor certainly elevates who is playing them, because if you have someone who can't play that character, then you're not going to like Captain America as much if it's not someone as charismatic as Chris Evans and as likable as Scarlett Johansson, or electric as Scarlett Johansson playing Black Widow. Like the actor elevates it, but you're not going, oh, I'm going to go see that just because Robert Downey Jr. is in it. No, you're going to see it because Iron Man's in it. You're going to see it because there's an Iron Man movie coming out. That's great casting, Robert Downey Jr. But you're going to see it because of the IP, the brand. That's what I think he was trying to say. And because I don't disagree with that. Because you look at certain things, if it was just a movie star, then the judge should have made $300 million. Didn't. Chris Evans' directorial debut should have been, everybody just wants to see it because of Chris Evans. It's not what Tarantino was saying. Yeah. So that's what it is. And I think that's why people right now, the business is so IP driven. And, when you want to go, and because tickets are expensive too, right? And I was talking to one of the patrons recently, Wicked Art, who does, who's done the Sith Council opening for us, and he's done art for us and stuff. And he's very talented, but I was talking to him and he's just like, I got to choose. I'm taking my family to see these movies, and like, we know which ones we want to see, but like we really want to see this particular Marvel movie. We really want to see Avatar, and it's like, it's a family thing. Each ticket now, it's like $10-15 or whatever it is, plus food and everything. You got to structure it out. And I know how, we're in this business for people who do this for a living. We get a chance to go to these screenings and everything too. Like, there's certain movies if I wasn't getting screenings for them, I'm not going to see them in the theater. I'm going to wait on streaming. I mean, hell, I wasn't seeing a lot of stuff anyway over the last 2 years, I think I first started getting back in the theater. I think, was it Eternals? Eternals might've been the first one. No, it wasn't. I think it was Ghostbusters. What came out first? Was Ghostbusters or Eternals come out first? I think Ghostbusters. I think it was the first one I saw back. But like those movies I would have seen, like Dune. And I think I was being a little bit more stubborn with Dune. I enjoyed watching Dune on my big TV and surround sound and all that shit, right? I would have loved to seen it in the theater. Like, I'm really looking forward to seeing the second one. I think I was being a little more stubborn. Like, I don't need to see anything in the theater. That's definitely not true. I think the theater experience, I'm glad that it's back. But if you look at the movies that are coming out in 2023, there's a lot of movies that are going to make a lot of money, and the box office is not going to be like it was in December, because there are more things coming out now that are going to kick ass. Like, here's another reason. I don't give a shit about Dungeons and Dragons, but I think that movie, the movie that's coming out, I think it's going to do very well. The example is that I was walking, I took my daughter on Christmas Eve. My 11-year-old and I were walking around, got bagels and took her to like Starbucks or something, and we started walking around, and we came across this movie theater, and she just stopped, and she's like, Dungeons and Dragons as a movie? She's like, oh my God, what is, and she didn't see the trailer yet, so I showed her the trailer. She's like, I have to see this. The movie's gonna do very well, not just because my daughter wants to see it, but like, I just think that it's got that kind of thing. So anyway, so look, I think that in general, there's a reason why these movies didn't do as well as I think a couple years ago, 2018, 2019, Babylon has a better shot. Whitney Houston has a better shot. It's not that world anymore, man. 2020 fucked it up bad. But it's like people, and also, with inflation, all that shit, people are choosing what they want to see. I'm not, if you had a choice to go over the weekend, you haven't seen a movie in a while, you want to go, and I also don't know, there's certain movies, like I said, with the escapism, it's a big part of it. People are feeling shitty all of the time now, all the time. Whether it's, work or politics or whatever the fuck it is, just go on Twitter for an hour. You'll come out of there just wanting to like take a shower. And it's like that, you don't want to take that into the theater and see it again. You're like, oh God, these powerful movies, these Oscar movies. You're like, oh, I just went and saw that in the movie theater. What do you want to do now? I don't know. Let's just go get something to eat. I don't know. Let's get a beer. I don't know. But it's like, it just doesn't, I'm not saying that everything needs to be big fluffy movies, but there's a reason why. You look at the movies that did really well this year, Jurassic World, Top Gun. I mean, even that Sandra Bullock movie. And I mentioned, I thought that Julia Roberts Clooney movie was terrible. I mean, terrible. But it did decent. Because those are the types of movies that people want to escape to right now. They just want to escape. It's the same way, remember, it's a reason why Star Wars did, besides it being a fantastic movie, New Hope, it's a reason why it stuck out when Chinatown and all these other movies were the ones that were the big standard back then, because everybody was in this kind of film noir, like, bleh, bleh. And you're like, ugh, just give me something fun. Just give me a theater experience. And the theater experience is that, and that's why. But that was a long thing. It's a long thing, but I think it was relevant. Speaking of big IP, man, and again, I see the super chats that were coming in. Don't worry. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to keep going over the what the hell is it? The rest of the stories here that I got, but I'm taking note of the super chats as they come in. When I finish the stories, I'll read the super chats. You guys want to talk for a while? We'll talk for a while. You don't? I get it. It's Christmas. You guys had to do your thing. I get it. All right. What's the next one? All right, I want to get into this freaking Spider-Man story. Sorry, Brad. I do want to see that movie, though. I'll tell you that. All right, there's the Spider-Man thing. So, where is it? I got it somewhere. Again, Dark Horizons. This was from Dark Horizons, the G-Man again, Garth Franklin. With Tom Holland have completed a trilogy of Spider-Man films along with appearances in various other crossover works in the MCU, the future of his tenure is unclear. Oh, good call. It's Boxing Day also. Whatever. That's cool. I understand. It's fine. I just wanted to get on here and talk to you guys anyway. Part of that is because Sony Pictures has seemingly made no move yet on making a fourth entry in the series in the wake of the huge success of Spider-Man No Way Home, which grossed only $2 billion at the box office. Last month, rumors Holland had allegedly signed a deal to return for multiple new films. I can't read it right now, and I have my glasses on. Let me do that again. Last month came rumors that Holland had allegedly signed a deal to return for multiple new films, namely a whole new trilogy and appearances in 2 or 3 other projects. However, no major trades or other outlets picked it up, the story remaining very much a part of the more rumor-driven sites of the internet, and there was no further confirmation or denial on the studio's part. Is that all I got so far? Now, Sony Pictures Chairman and CEO Thomas Rothman have spoken with THR, and his comments would suggest the next entry won't be happening anytime soon, but it will happen. This is what Rothman says. When you can expect it, I don't know. Serve no wine before it's time. Rothman says Sony Pictures also plans to continue taking risks with theatrical releases, and the exploitation of characters in the Spidey universe, a la Venom, Morbius, will likely continue beyond the upcoming Madam Web and Kraven the Hunter films. He adds, COVID was terrible, but at some point the audience will move beyond it. I don't believe that streaming is a death threat to movies. Lack of originality could be. I just went into all this. I think that some of that is true, some of that is not. There'll be no shortage of Spider-Man content in the meantime, though, with the animated Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse in 2023 and the film's follow-up with Spider-Man Beyond the Spider-Verse in 2024. Okay, more with that. There's a lot here. Again, this is also a thing that's not mentioned inside of this report, but it also depends on where does it fit into the MCU? Because if the MCU needs it, they're going to do everything in their power to make sure that Sony starts pushing forward and gets it into production, and they're going to announce it and all that. And it's probably not part of the plan just yet, right? Because if you look at it, we've got 2024 or 2023 anyway, is pretty much, it's not going to happen in 2023. It's not going to happen in 2024. It'll probably happen sometime in phase 6, right? You would assume. Maybe not. But I think for them, I think that Rothman's playing it a little. I don't buy the nonchalantness of it, because that movie, the last one, brought Sony so much money. And the amount of press, and I get it. I know why Toby and Andrew coming back. I get it. But it doesn't change the fact that it's also the third installment of a film that made hand over fist. So for them not to want to do another one is borderline is stupid. It's really stupid. But he's not saying that. He said there's going to be another one. It's not what he's saying, that it's not going to be. But they definitely have conversations about when it comes out. But I also don't understand this. And I think that they dropped the ball tremendously on this. They had so much leverage on Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield and this multiverse thing. You've already set it up that they live in different universes. Do a movie with Andrew Garfield and do a movie with Tobey Maguire, whether they're doing one together or whether they're doing separate ones. Who's not going to see those movies? Why isn't that like why wasn't that announced like immediately? That should have been the plan after they were debuted. They're going to get Raimi back, do another one if you wanted to, to do a Toby one, then you could do another. You could finally get Garfield, that movie that everyone wanted. I think that was so stupid that they didn't do that. They should absolutely made some money on that. People would have seen it. It didn't have to play into the MCU. It was already established that who they were, and they went back, and you see how they kind of came back later on. I don't think Sony makes great decisions when it comes to that stuff. I don't know. What are you going to do? What can you say? All right. So, I mean, as far as Spider-Man goes, the new one, we'll get another one. There's just too much money. You're not going to leave that much money on the table. You're just not going to. Plus the fact that it's going to, I do believe that report, by the way, that he's signing another deal. I do. I think that they're going to bring him back. And I think the MCU needs it too. The MCU needs a couple, because Thor's got, one movie left in him, maybe? Hemsworth is tapped. Come on. It's been playing him forever. Evans isn't around anymore. Downey's not around anymore. Scarlett Johansson's not around anymore. A lot of the Guardians are taking off. A lot of the legacy, you got to build new ones. You got to give them some time. You still got Anthony Mackie. You still got Sebastian Stan. But like they're doing the new Captain America movie. But they're still building. Like, even though Anthony Mackie's been around for a little bit, he's not been Captain America yet. So they're building this movie off of him now. But you need some legacy characters too, and Tom Holland is, as young as he is a legacy character. So I think you need him. And I know that. I think they know that. Ant-Man, another one for sure. And yeah, they mentioned Spider-Verse, and Spider-Verse is going to be in there. I think that's going to be. I saw someone ask me this question, and I kind of glossed over it, but not on purpose. They asked if I was doing an anticipated list. I am, and I already shot it, and I was going to put it out today. But then I realized there are a couple of different reasons I didn't put it out yet. And I usually always put the anticipated after my top, but I don't know yet. You know what? It was a very, very tough list to make. Had it been, and there's one movie on my list that I'm not even sure if it necessarily is coming out in 2023. It says it's supposed to, but I haven't heard anything on it since, like a definitive yes, it's coming out. So there's a movie that just missed it that would probably, if this other movie wasn't in there, then it would be my top 10. But my list it's all over the map, because I have there's a ton of great movies that are not on my list. You're gonna be like, a lot of you guys are gonna be like, really? That's not on your list? It's not that I'm not anticipating it. It's just I'm anticipating these other ones more. Yeah. So is that true? Chris Hemsworth's taking a break from acting because of health? I didn't even see that. Interesting. We'll see. There's a lot of stuff going on, man. With this, I'm telling you, 2023 is going to be stacked. I can't wait. It's the most excited I've been for movies in quite a bit, because, and to no one's fault except this is the first year. 2019 was the last, I think, year that we had normalcy of what it used to be like in the movies, right? And then 2020, obviously, nobody was seeing anything in the theater. And then 2021, couple things started coming back, and you would get a couple big things here and there. Obviously Spider-Man and Ghostbusters and these things that kind of popping in there. And then 2022 was the first year you got like 1 or 2 big movies a month. It was really like one, right? You look at what we just said with December. But next year is the first one where I remember when Ellis and I used to go and see movies, in the summertime, and we'd be like, oh shit, man, we got like 5 or 6 massive releases this month. Get ready. That wasn't the case yet. It's going to be the case. Like March has like 4 or 5 massive movies. April has a couple. May is stacked. June is stacked. July is stacked. And August has a couple of them too. I think Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles is always in August. Always. Every time they do a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie, it's always in August. And then Blue Beetle is in August. So yeah, 2023 is going to be huge. And that's not to mention, the other shows that we got too. The Severance Season 2, Secret Invasion, Mandalorian, Ahsoka, Skeleton Crew. Those are the Star Wars shows, right? And there's some Loki. There's a lot of stuff in 2023. Yeah, Creed 3. March is nuts. March is nuts. Yeah, no, I agree. We definitely need it. We definitely need it, man. Loving this. I'm seeing the super chats coming in. Don't worry. I will get to those as soon as it's time for us to start bailing. Okay. Let's see. Any other stories to talk about that I have here that I haven't gone into? I got the Spider-Man one. I got the Christmas box. Oh, John Wick. Let's talk a little John Wick. They said it's got a Japanese influence, which I like to hear. I'm so excited for this movie. I'm going to spoiler. John Wick is in my anticipated. The John Wick franchise shows no signs of slowing down. Leading man Keanu Reeves and director Chad Stahelski have constructed a franchise that has been pretty much bulletproof since it began, with excellent critical and audience reviews for 3 entries so far. Again, this is Dark Horizons. Whilst both a limited series prequel and spin-off feature will be upon us at some point in the near future, more immediately coming up is a 4th main entry in the franchise with Reeves and Stahelski once again back doing what they do best. Whilst the series takes place primarily in New York City, the second film shot various scenes in Italy, while the third film used Morocco for its middle act. The upcoming 4th film goes even more international with scenes shot in Germany, France, and Japan. Speaking with Total Film for their 2023 preview edition, Stahelski says that the new film has much more of a heavy Japanese influence this time, and it's not just the action and story, but the casting and visuals which borrow from samurai cinema this time out. That's a deliberate choice. This one is has a very Japanese theme to it. It's about a certain code, whether it's friendship or the art of living. Even though everyone in the movie is a bad guy, there's a code. I'm a huge fan of Chambara films, sword fighting films, samurai films, from Harikiri to Seven Samurai. I can literally name all 26 episodes of Zatoichi, plus the TV shows. So obviously, that's a huge influence. The impact spreads to casting decisions, which will see the teaming of screen fighting legends Donnie Yen and Hiroki Sanada using their full skills. Japanese-British singer-songwriter Rina Sawahama joins them, while Stahelski says even Reeves himself upped his martial arts game for this outing. I just want Keanu Reeves to be better as a martial arts stunts performer, so he learns the nunchucks, he learns the bow and arrow, he learns all these new tools. Keanu did his part. Keanu got a little bit better as John Wick. Lance Reddick, Ian McShane, Lawrence Fishburne, all return. How awesome does that movie sound, dude? Oh my God. That movie sounds so good. Oh my God, it sounds so good. And Keanu is one of those guys that, he is just... Everything that Stahelski says is sometimes there's just, yeah, sure, he did this, he did that. Yeah, we get it. Okay, sure he did. He did all that stuff. And he's going to look even more of a badass. He commits. I think, obviously, Tom Cruise gets a lot of credit, rightfully so, for the crazy shit that guy does with his body and everything, those stunts that he does. But, Keanu Reeves does get the credit, but not in the same breath, and I think he should. He's 52. How old is he? Hey, Siri, how old is Keanu Reeves?
Keanu Reeves is 58 years old.
58 years old. He's almost 60. And he's running around. I hurt my back parallel parking. He is almost 60 years old. Damn. That dude is no joke. And same thing, Tom Cruise, probably the same thing. Oh, I'm so excited for that movie. I can't wait. I'm really pumped for that movie, man. I think that's the majority of stuff. Oh, Jackman. We'll talk about Hugh Jackman. There's some Hugh Jackman stuff. So Hugh Jackman is coming back. We know that. When does that come out? Is that 2024? I think that's 2024. I'm pretty sure it is. Speaking, let's see, where the hell is he? He's here somewhere. I'll find him. But we've got so Hugh Jackman is coming back. Thank you, Simon. I see that, and I'm copying it. Don't worry. I'm gonna get to all these super chats very soon. I appreciate everybody who's putting them in there too. Thank you. So this was from Dark Horizons, and we're talking about Hugh Jackman. Even though the holiday is upon us, Hugh Jackman has still been out there working and promoting his role in Florian Zeller's The Sun film adaptation. So once again, he's been talking about his return to the role of Logan, Wolverine, in Deadpool 3, which is expected to shoot in mid-2023 for a late 2024 release. Previously, Jackman had talked about how watching the first Deadpool, he could immediately see a 48-hour style dynamic that could be played between his Wolverine and Ryan Reynolds' Deadpool, but he never thought he'd get the chance to do it with his commitment to be killed off in 2017's Logan. Things changed a few months ago, and now he gets his chance while Marvel's multiverse embrace will keep the legacy of Logan intact. With the project now progressing, will the on-screen pairing follow the squabbling buddy comedy of that aforementioned film? Jackman tells Empire it sort of will, as the movie will begin with a hate-hate dynamic between the pair. Well, how do I categorize it? 10 being really close, 0 being the reality. We're 0. We're opposites. We hate each other. I'm just taking, from my perspective, frustrated by him, wants to be a million miles away from him and wants to punch him in the head. Unfortunately, he can't be a million miles away from him in this movie, so I'm probably going to punch him in the head a lot. He was asked if the film would borrow other elements of 48 Hours, a movie considered the first in the buddy cop genre, such as the short space of time in which events fold. Looks like it won't. No, it's just the banter relationship. Just that sort of opposite. He's the vinegar to my oil. He's the fast-talking, quick-worded loudmouth, and my character just wants to punch him in the head, just to shut him up. So that's the majority of it. I think that everybody kind of understood that, right? Everybody kind of knew that was the case with what we're gonna see with these two. This has been a tease for a long time, and they nailed it there by saying you got the multiverse. You got this multiverse thing with Wolverine and Deadpool. And Wolverine, well, he died. Yeah, but did he? Did he in the universe we've been watching? No, not necessarily. We was kind of assumed that was kind of a separate thing anyway. I can't wait to see that as well. That's another one that's gonna do very well. That's 2024. 2024 is gonna be just as packed as 2023. And that's the other point I wanted to make, by the way, about 2023. One of the main reasons that 2023 is as stacked as it is, I'm just thinking of 3 movies off the bat, right? John Wick, Creed, and The Flash. All 3 of those movies were supposed to come out in 2023. All 3 of them. Shazam, 4. All of them were supposed to come out. Aquaman, 5. All of them were supposed to come out in 2023. They all got pushed into 2020, or supposed to come out in 2022. All got pushed into 2023. And I don't even know I think there's some other ones also. So that's why we're getting so many big, huge, massive movies, because they all got pushed into 2023. So, okay, cool. So, like I said, that's everything that we've got so far. I'm going to get to some of these. I want to get to some of these super chats, and then we can call it a day. I think that's everything I want to talk about as far as the stories go. But let's bring these up. I'm going to bring up some of these questions that you guys asked, and again, they'll be open until the show's over. So have a blast and do what you got to do. Send it in. Don't send it in. It's up to you guys. Let's start. First question here. We're going to start with Ben, because Ben asked the first question. That's how it works. And watch this. I got a way to do this now when I'm streaming from OBS, and we've got it, and boom. Okay, so let's start with Ben. Where is he? Hold on now. I'm working on it. All right, first one. Hey, Kristian, my holidays were good. I hope yours was Well, yours was great. I watched Del Toro's Pinocchio. It was incredible, and I loved it. My top 5 of the year: Prey, Top Gun, Maverick, Spirited for the Batman, Chippendales. All good ones. All good ones. So I'm telling you, man. So it's funny. All I'll say is this. I don't want to ruin it for anybody if you haven't seen his Pinocchio, but the Disney Pinocchio came out with the live action one. It was terrible, right? It came out with Tom Hanks, and the beginning of it started like I was like, oh, this is going to be pretty emotional because they're kind of exploring a different side of Geppetto that I didn't really know, and maybe it was part of the book. I don't know, but I didn't know this, and this is interesting, and it was terrible. This did that even better. And I'm so much more emotionally involved already than I have been in any Pinocchio movie. So I'm pretty excited for it, man. I think it looks pretty damn good. I think it looks really damn good. All right, so that's from the great Ben. All right, let's go to the next one here. And this comes from personal email. Thank you, personal email. Happy Boxing Day, Kristian. I got some questions about international films. Any underrated international films that we missed this year? Second, could you see in the coming decades an international film industry rivaling Hollywood? I can't see it rivaling Hollywood, to be honest. Not for anything except, like, look, even when you look at, like, streaming, I think that Dark was one of the best shows on television, like, ever. It's very hard to get people to watch Dark because the way to watch it, I mean, yeah, you can watch it in the English subtitle, the English dubs, but it's not the same. People, for some reason, just don't want to do it. Whether it's just stupid Americans, whatever it is, I don't know. But I was definitely part of that as well, where I was like, I don't know, I'll get to it, and I get to it, and I missed out on it forever. But I think the same, like, to answer your question, there's a lot of movies that I have not seen yet. Like Triple R is one that I want to see. I haven't seen it yet. I'm gonna watch. That's one of the ones on my list. There's nothing except the fact that I just didn't have the same kind of access to it. It's on Netflix. I get it. But, like, I guess, yeah, it's just not in the conversation as much. And I think that's one of the reasons it probably won't get caught up to American box office, I think. And that's not just foreign films. I know what you're saying. You're saying just in general. I think the marketing behind the stuff in Hollywood is always going to be the machine, to be honest. Okay. And as far as your first question goes, I don't really have an answer for it because I haven't seen as much. It's not the same like it was for me back in the Schmoes days. And I said this to someone recently, and it's kind of why I love doing what I'm doing now is, like, I'm going to use Willow as an example. I started watching Willow, really hated the first 15 minutes, 20 minutes, watched it with my daughter, said, okay, it got better. Still a lot of stuff that I don't like about it. In the second episode, that was good. Now, I covered the first 2 episodes. Haven't covered episode 3. Haven't covered episode 4. Will I watch it ever again? I don't know. My daughter wants to watch it. But back in the day, whether it was Schmoes or Collider or whatever, if you started it, we got to go all the way through and finish it. And it's like, I don't want to finish it. Not right now. Maybe someday. I started watching Wednesday. I think Wednesday's awesome. I started watching that because my daughter asked me to watch it with her, and I was going to watch it anyway. But really liking that show. It definitely, not a lot of people are saying this. It's got like a Harry Potter vibe to it. It absolutely has a Harry Potter vibe to it. It showed me inside of this episode, of this series, what a Harry Potter show could actually look like, is the other thing. All right, let's see. Next one. And that was personal email. Thank you, personal email. Ben Rayner. Turning Red was great. I think you'll like it a lot, but that's the only one on your list I've seen other than Pinocchio, which I loved. So that one I don't know what happened. I was doing something work related, and both my kids, the little one, she didn't understand what the hell was going on, but she still watched it. And the older one loved it. They watched it a few different times. And I never got a chance. My wife watched that, and I didn't watch it. I have to watch that movie, but I'm not sure if I'm going to get to it in time. I just don't know if it'll be on my list. I do want to get to it. I just can't imagine that's going to be on my list. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Okay, thank you, Ben. As always, you're the man. I really appreciate that. Okay, so the next one, I got a couple here today, so that's all right. Samuel Michel S. What's up? Huge fan of yours, Kristian. Well, thank you, Samuel. That's very nice of you, and I appreciate you stopping by here today. That is more than kind. I appreciate it. Happy Boxing Day. I think that says Resty. Kristian, will you make a 2023 most anticipated list? Yes, I did, and yes, it'll be out this week. So look forward to that. Cooley High. Oh, that's my man. What's up, dude? How are you guys? How's your family? Happy holidays, Christian. Looking forward to Ant-Man and Indiana Jones. Oh, man, you got no idea. Oh, I just watched an Indiana Jones trailer again today. It looks so good. I paused it more so than I did in the past. It's funny, that stupid shot of him on the horse, and I've seen his stunt double looks like Eminem, by the way, but like he comes in and it's so clearly not him, and it looks like almost like the Mummy, like the Scorpion King, when the Scorpion King with that bad CGI back then. It looks so bad, and I'm with everybody on that. It was one bad CGI shot. Okay, that's part one. Part two is, they probably could fix it, and by the time the movie comes out, also agreed. Why put it in the trailer? This on a horse is necessary to sell the movie? Why do you need to put that in the trailer? If you look at that and you go, I don't look good, don't put it in the trailer. There's no reason to. It's like, well, we need to see him on a horse. Show a different shot of him on the horse. That was such a stupid decision to show. Whether it's going to be fixed or not, why would you show that? It's such a bad shot. It's like, look how fake that looks. It's like the rest of the trailer is so good, and the de-aging, the deep fake on young Indy looks amazing. It's just that one stupid shot. It's the only thing that bothered me. But yeah, loved it. I can't wait for that movie. Cannot wait for that movie. Okay, let's see. So the next one here, I think, is last one. I think. I don't know if any other ones came in. I'll refresh in a second. Simon Section. Hope you and your families had a great Christmas. I spent mine watching The Fabelmans. It was okay. However, there was a scene near the movie where I thought of Kristian. No spoilers. Oh, man, I want to know. I want to know which you don't. Why don't you put which scene? Well, you just say what part. I'm curious. I really enjoyed The Fabelmans a lot. Talk about that right now. I really, really, really enjoyed The Fabelmans. I thought that it was a really well done film. But again, this goes back to my point from before. A movie that didn't do well in the theater. 3 hours long. 3 hours long, that film. It's not a movie. It's a good movie. And it's not a movie that you're going at the end. It's a nice, uplifting, feel-good film. It's just not what people are going to see in the theater right now. It doesn't matter if Spielberg did it. It doesn't matter. You can't, I mean, I say you can't live like 2019. You can't live like 1990. You can't live like that. It's a different, you've got to live now. If you're a studio, first of all, you can't greenlight movies for $100 or $85 million, 3 hours long, like Babylon, if you're not just making it a streaming process. Okay, look, we're going streaming. We're going all in with this on streaming. This is going to be a streaming thing. That's it. We understand the budget's huge, but we're going to market it around it. We're going to make sure we get subscribers. Okay, fine. Whatever it might be. But you can't just try to make that a theatrical movie. And the same thing, Fabelmans is tough. It's a tough pull. Okay, I think there was one more here by The Good Ed. The Good Ed, I like that. Kristian, Yellowstone is streaming on Peacock. Yeah, I know. That one. You watch so much stuff. I can't expect you to watch every show that we do. But I talked about that the other day, where I found out that it actually is on Peacock, which is great. I think Jonathan Voico told me that last time I was on John's show. But I am gonna, and I think that it's just a matter of what I'm going to be watching, right? So like I'm watching Yellowstone, and I'm almost all cut up. I guess there was an episode last night. I missed it. So I got to get through these movies. I want to watch these movies. I got to finish Netflix, Pinocchio. I got to finish that. It's so funny. I just talked about this with Riley, and I talked about it on Sith Council this Wednesday. I've had all 12 episodes of The Bad Batch sitting in my inbox for the last week. I haven't touched it. Not because it's terrible. It's not excited about it. Will I get to it? Yeah, I'll probably get to it. But I'm just like, and I hope it's great. I hope it's amazing. I hope I come back and say to you guys, hey, remember the stupid asshole I was? I had that thing sitting in my inbox for however long it was, and I didn't watch it. Stupid idiot. I should have watched that right away. It's amazing. That's what I hope. And I've done that before many times. As far as saying, I don't care. I mean, I remember WandaVision coming in. I don't care WandaVision. I remember when they said it to me, I was like, I don't care WandaVision. And I loved it. My favorite Marvel show thus far. So I'm hoping Bad Batch is the same. But yeah, Yellowstone, I just don't know if there's so many seasons of it. I think I'm going to keep watching 1923 for now, and eventually I'll get to Yellowstone. Eventually. My brother was like, what are you doing? You can't watch a prequel series. I'm like, yeah, I don't think it's the same for this. And I think that's it, everybody. I think that's it. So I hope everybody had again, if people want to, unless there's anything else that comes in, I'm just going to wrap this up. But I appreciate everybody being here. I appreciate everybody joining me the day after Christmas. And we got a lot going on here on the channel, man. We got a lot going on. I'm really excited for 2023. Oh, there's another one just came in. Sorry. I'll take this first. And then I'll hold on a second. Let me just refresh this. Take this question, and then I'll do my wrap up. Because I do want to thank you guys for all the support and everything that you've done. All right, let's see. So here it is. Simon Section. The Hogan Heroes poster, I thought of how much you enjoyed the offer. I absolutely thought of the offer during the Hogan Heroes poster. Absolutely. Absolutely. That's from the Fableman stuff. Yeah, I can understand that because the second I was wondering if because Greg Grunberg's in that scene. I was wondering if Greg Grunberg was actually playing what's his name? Alan Tuddy. The Hogan Heroes poster, I thought of how much you enjoyed the offer. Me too. I wish they would do another one this time revolving around the making of Star Wars. That would be awesome. And, they could also, by the way, if they wanted to, they could do a second season of The Offer. I mean, they really could. They could just do around Godfather 2 and everything that happened within Godfather 2. That would be very interesting. That Hulk Hogan movie ain't happening, guys. Someone just wrote about the Hulk Hogan movie. Ain't happening. It was funny because I knew that thank you. Jesus Fernandez said, nothing to say this time, just enjoying the stream. Thanks, man. I appreciate that. Thank you for the kind donation. As far as the Hulk Hogan thing goes, I knew that Josh Horowitz was having him on. And I said, hey, you can ask him about the Hulk Hogan thing? And he did. And Hemsworth was like, yeah, they're talking about it, but there's nothing really going on with it. You should watch that interview, by the way. It's great. If you haven't checked out Josh's channel, he's got so many, he's got everybody. Said, what's her, Kate Winslet, who I love. Just had Kate Winslet on recently. He had Austin Butler on. He had Hemsworth. He had Adam Sandler on. He's got great guests every week. He just had Daniel Craig on. He was talking to him as well. Josh Horowitz is just, you speak about 2023. Josh Horowitz's show next year is going to be, that's my go-to podcast, by the way. Every time I go to Campy's show on Tuesday, Campy lives like an hour, or he shoots like an hour and 15 minutes away from me. So when I drive there, I listen to Josh's show on the way up and the way back. And usually I can knock out like 2 episodes, and it's a great show. If you haven't had a chance, you should check it out. Anyway, like I was saying, I wanted to thank you guys so much for this year. I was looking at the numbers in general, and I know this is it's kind of hard to say, but like when Ellis and I were starting, it took us I think it was 2 years or so. I remember we were on a little over 2 years to get to 5,000 subscribers. I remember we were on the Adam Carolla show, and we had just met Doug Benson, and it was me and Ellis and Doug Benson and Eliza Schlesinger on the show, and we had said, hey, we just hit 5,000 subscribers on YouTube, and it was like 2.5, 3 years of doing it. So the idea that we could hit 62,000 subscribers, and really I took over this channel in late August and started really put material up in late August of 2021. September is really when the heavy push came. So just little under a year and a half to be able to push through to 62,000 subscribers and to build out this community the way that we've been building it. And to have all these names that I'm starting to recognize and people and the idea that, you guys are coming over here because I know how much there is to watch, and I know how many people there are out there, and I know how the space is so different in 2008 with movie pundits. There were like 6 back then, maybe. So you could watch everybody. You literally could watch everybody. Now it's like, you throw a stone and somebody's doing a TikTok of a movie review or something. And the fact that you're here with me and that you're supporting the shows. And I put a poll up the other day and wondering like which shows in general. And there was people had asked if you liked The Big Thing, if you liked Sith Council, if you like. I mean, so just to clarify, by the way, Sith Council and Capes and Cowls, they're all every episode is Big Thing. It's just that Sith Council is our Big Thing Star Wars episode, and Capes and Cowls is our Big Thing. Comic book stuff. It's just that Big Thing proper covers everything. But the idea that you guys have, I'm hoping that you have enough that you can watch over here, and that there's things that you want to watch, and and we can bring you some laughs, and we can bring you all that stuff, and I can give you short form. I've been doing a lot of short form content too, by the way. I've been doing a lot of shorts on both on YouTube, but on TikTok and on Instagram and all that stuff. And because I know that that's also part of the, like, let's get to it. Let me see, because sometimes you might not watch the show, right? And you can go, oh, well, that was a short from the show. I'll go back and I'll watch it. And then obviously the Diego Luna stuff, we're making a bigger push on interviews next year. So we hope that happens. Brett did such like a masterful job with the studio right now. And I think that I'll do something like that for Patreon. I want to do like a tour around the studio so that people see it as well too. And again, it's something else. Patreon has been something that we've gotten so much support on, and that keeps us going. So it's been humbling. It's been awesome. You guys have been really, really great. And I'm so glad that you guys are enjoying the channel so much. And it was why, I mean, I think it was like a couple months ago, maybe like 3-4 months ago, but I said, is it noticeable? Most people understood what I was going with here. And I said, is it noticeable that I'm having like a good time doing this? And I don't want to say the people who didn't get it were like, you don't need validation from anybody. I was like, that's not what I'm asking you. I'm not needing validation for it. What I'm saying is, can you as a viewer tell that I am just way more happy doing this stuff, because I don't want to say there's no rules, because there's always rules. There's no handcuffs. There's no, like, I set my own boundaries. You know what I mean? Like I like the crew that, and it's why consistency was always something that I wanted to, no matter what channel I was on, I always wanted to make some consistency. So, if you tune in on Monday, you could get a special guest. You can get me by myself. You can get me and Brett. It's like a hodgepodge for the Monday, but that's the fact that the Monday episode is consistently inconsistent, but it's always the same type of stuff we're talking about. Wednesday, you're always, majority of the time, you're going to get myself, Mike and Steph, like 90% of the time, unless it's just something like Mark Riley's coming on or something along those lines, but it'd always be the Star Wars driven Big Thing episode. Thursday is always Roxy, myself, and Brett, again, special circumstances or whatever. And then Friday is always Capes and Cowls, the Big Thing episode with me, Winston, and Coy. I want to make sure you guys have reviews. I want to make sure you guys have trailer reactions. I want to make sure you have all of those things, because I know that short form is just, I mean, look, the most popular stuff on this channel are the out of the theater reactions. Like, those are that's the one I've seen people that I like haven't seen in years going, hey, I saw your out of the theater reaction on this, and I was like, it's just, I get it, it's digestible, but the idea is that people who have found the short form, like, I'm curious, anybody who's watching the stream right now, like, if you found the channel through a short, did you find it through a review, like, and then you started watching the long form? Like, gathering that kind of information is something that I'm learning as well too. So, but yeah, I just have so much more fun, kind of, this was pretty great. Somebody asked what the story is with the painting on the wall. It's, if you're a Sopranos fan, you get it. If you ask that question, I don't think you've watched The Sopranos, which is not anything against you. You just never seen The Sopranos. That's it's an episode where Tony has this painting made for him, and it's not that. It's Tony in a suit with that horse, and then let's just say this: that something else happens that eventually the painting, his version of him with the suit, turns into that. So that's what that is. But yeah, so that's what that painting is. And then I didn't realize that Tony's got a lightsaber right in his balls. This is from Damien Sabers. They sent this to me. Power on. You see, this is blue. You can't see it here because of the. Can you turn? If I turned it off, you might not be able to see it. Can you see it now? It's because of the light still. This thing's great though. Big fan of this. All right, I gotta go. We got another super chat. Turn this off. Let me turn on this. Let me get this super chat up, and then we'll call it a day. Then everybody wants to go do their thing. It's Boxing Day. And I thank you guys for joining us. Last question. All right, here it is, everybody. Here is the last question of the day, and this one comes in from. Oh wait, there's actually two more. Mark Jason Ali, what's up, Mark? I watched Way of Water. I liked it. Discussion later. Okay, great. Thank you. I look forward to that discussion. Simon Section. I would love to see Dan Fogler play Francis Ford Coppola again. The only downside is that I might hate the character depending on how he treats his friend George Lucas. Well, they're really good buddies, yeah, for sure. And then, well, George is the whole reason that Coppola did Godfather in the first place. So, yeah. Okay, guys, that was it. That was the show. I hope you had a good time. I had a good time. It was fun. Thank you very much for being here with me today. I cannot thank you enough. I really can't. It's been a blast, and I'm looking forward to talking to you guys again. Remember, just a reminder: Wednesday, Mark Riley, Big Thing Sith Council. Thursday, John Roca, Dan Merle with the best of the year. Friday is myself, Winston, and Coy for Big Thing Capes and Cows with our favorite comic book movies and TV show of the year. And then I'm going to have lists of both most anticipated and my top 10 best movies of the year. So for all of that, make sure if you haven't already done that and you're brand new to the channel, you haven't been here before, help us we're going to try to get to at least 63 by the end of the year. Hoping the new goal once I get to 70 is going to be, I'm going to jump right from 70 to 100. That's the goal. We're hitting 100 next year. I'm telling you. Hellbound. And then go to Patreon. You're going to go to Patreon, do patreon.com/thebigthingshow. Get yourself a shirt and all that and more. I want to thank you guys very much for joining me. I appreciate you, and we'll see you on the flip side, everybody. It's The Big Thing. Have a great, great day today, and we're looking forward. Let's have a great 2023, everybody. All right, let's do it.